tell them who I am. Well, hot damn, I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
What is up, Revved Up Rebel Nation? We are back for another one. Yes, if you missed my show on Saturday, I did one on Saturday because I had been in YouTube jail for a few weeks. I'm finally the fuck out of that gulag, the YouTube gulags, the big tech censorship gulags. And got a feeling I'll probably be back in there before long for some reason or another. They love to strike me down, but I do only have one strike on the channel right now, so that is good. The other two from earlier in, I guess, what was it, February and March, they expired. So right now I am okay. I can afford one more ban for right now. Anyways, who all do we have in here? We got Tracy James. What is up, Tracy James? Welcome back, the Revved Up Rebel Nation stalwart, always in the building. And we got Chelly Chell. Says, hello, fellow Patriots, and welcome back, Ram. Missed you. I missed you, too. It is good to have you back in here. I got banned for that stream that you had to leave early because your daughter was coming. The Trump stream. They did not appreciate that. We got Barracuda in here. What is up, Barracuda? I love that you guys are all friends in here. That's awesome. That is awesome. We got a community going on here, man. You guys got a whole conversation going on in here. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Looks like you've been working, Chelly Chell. Good to be making that money right now. Let's see. Books on Amazon. Okay, you guys talking about some different books, man. I'm doing a lot of reading right now. I'm doing some prep work. I've got a lot of reading material, a lot of research I'm doing right now myself. A lot of reading up on cultural Marxism and all of that stuff. This is a really good book that I'm in the middle of reading right now. It's called Socrates Meets Marx, and it's by Peter Kreeft. Peter Kreeft, and it's the father of philosophy. The father of philosophy cross-examines the founder of communism, and the whole thing is written in like a dialogue between Socrates and Marx, where Socrates cross-examines Marx on his Communist Manifesto to see what actually holds up. And I'm about 75 pages into it, and so far Marx isn't holding up too good, but that was a little bit to be expected. But a lot of reading material to do. I'm doing a little bit of research for my own project. I'm not ready to publicly announce it yet, but I do have a project that will be taking on this Marxist insurgency that we are seeing in our country. And I'm excited to announce it, but I'm not ready yet because I'm still in the very preliminary stages. But let's see, we got Richard Jones in here. What is up, Richard Jones? The Knights Gambit says, hey there, Ram. What's up, Knights Gambit? Good to... Awesome, man. We got the crowd coming in. Let's see. Mary OC, I think you are new in here. Tight end, linebacker, wide receiver. America is just catching on. Yeah. Good one. Yeah, the NFL has gone full gay on us, and we will be covering that in just a little bit here. I haven't watched the NFL in I think 3 or 4 years now, just because for one, after the fiasco was the 2016 Super Bowl where my Atlanta Falcons just absolutely crashed and burned with a 28-3 lead in the third quarter. It's been tough watching my team, but also just because all the wokeness that's been going on in the NFL, it's made it almost impossible to be a fan of the sport. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Man, Whitney Rowe is in here. Isn't every corporation gay at this point? Pretty much. They're all gay and they're all communists because they all want that Chinese money. And we're going to be talking about Nike came out the other day saying that they are for China. They are a company of China and for China. Well, then kick them the fuck out of America. In fact, if I were president, I would give all companies 90 days to divest their interests from China, or they will have everything seized from them. We need a Cuba-style embargo on China. Let's see if we have any sort of politicians that will have the will to actually push some sort of embargo and complete and total divestment from China. I know that would actually be almost impossible, and they would have devastating short-term effects, but we need to get the hell out of China. We need to stop relying on them. We can go to India. India's a better country. We can places. I mean, Taiwan is good, but we got to be able to defend Taiwan too. We got Darrell in here. It says finally catching the live. Yes, good to have you in here, Darrell. Good to have you in here. Let's see, Whitney. Oh, you guys are talking up a storm in here. Whitney Rose says ran for press. Now I got too many skeletons in this closet. They'll come after me. They will come after me. I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. The coolest nerd is in here. Says, what's up, y'all? Good to have you in here. Coolest nerd. Man, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Good to have y'all back in here. Yeah, I'm trying to do a little less of the same old Clown World commentary at the beginning. I know a lot of these videos from the Libs of TikTok page, they're addicting because it is so much fun to mock and belittle and degrade these assholes. Actually, how can we degrade them any more than they degrade themselves? I mean, honestly, I can't even take credit for degrading them. They do that all on their own just by the content that they put out there. So, but I did. So I'm trying to do ones that are a little bit more substantial and not just like, creep shows of, some sort of transgender person saying, to be trans, as Styx Hexenhammer likes to call them. So Richard Jones says, NFL player came out as gay, but because he's a Republican and supports Trump, he was not covered by the media. Oh, he was for about 5 seconds, and then they realized his politics, and they were like, nope, let's throw him under the bus. Because at the end of the day, none of this is actually about supporting LGBT. None of it is about supporting, black, brown, indigenous, people of colors, all that bullshit. None of it is actually about that. It is all about setting fire to Western civilization, setting fire to all of the precepts that laid the ground for Western civilization, including the Christian ethic. And I'm not calling it the Judeo-Christian ethic. It is the Christian ethic. We got Williams85 in here. It says, Salty Army, what is up? Good to have you in here. Yes, we got a strong contingency of the Salty Army also in the Revved Up Rebel Nation. Welcome to the show, Williams85. I hope you have fun in here. We're trying to get more of those Salty Army people on here. More of the Razor Force, the Clankers, all those people. So we got a whole faction of internet armies rising up against all this bullshit, and it is great to see. So I want to start out with this one thing, because this is actually from Trevor Noah. And he did it on TikTok. I guess Trevor Noah has a TikTok page, who gives a shit about Trevor Noah. The least funny person ever in the history of Comedy Central. But let me go ahead and play this, and then we'll talk about it, because it just doesn't get things historically and factually correct.
Hey, boy, you better get to work picking that cotton. But why only me? Is it because I'm black? Now, it's not about that. It's about an economic system that may not be perfect, but is based on universal principles stated in the Declaration of Independence. I know you keep saying that. It just seems strange that there's no white people picking cotton. Wow, again with the race. You need to stop reducing people to their skin color, my friend. You're the real racist here. You're right, Massa. I apologize for making you feel uncomfortable. I forgive you, boy. We all make mistakes.
For one, it's completely and historically inaccurate that the economic mode of operation of slavery is ingrained in the Declaration of Independence. That's just utter bullshit. That's utter bullshit. Slavery is not in there. In fact, most of the founders wanted to do away with slavery from the very beginning of this nation, but the only reason that they didn't outlaw it outright was because they needed the southern states in order to form the nation. And so there was a compromise made. But you can read the writings of just about all of the founding fathers. George Mason said that every slave owner was nothing more than a petty tyrant. And Thomas Jefferson, even though he owned slaves, said something along the lines that God will look harshly upon him and that he fears how he will be judged. So that was not why are there no white people picking cotton? Clearly, Trevor Noah, and this is what is not taught in our history books, is that, or I learned it when I was a kid, but I guess they're not teaching anymore about the indentured servitude of the Irish, because the Irish were essentially slaves in the antebellum South as well. They, of course, got their freedom after 7 years of what was slave labor. And according to some historians, they say that the Irish were actually treated worse because they had less ability to actually endure the harsh climate of the South. You know, they're from Ireland, where it's always dreary, and you know, being down in the South in the heat, being fair skinned, they burn up, and the plantations, they didn't give a shit. They said, work your fucking ass off. And according to Jim Goad, I don't know how accurate this is. I would have to look at it, but he said that about 50% of the Irish indentured servants actually died before they reached those 7 years due to the harsh working conditions. But we never hear a word about that because it is contrary to the narrative that only black people were used as some sort of forced labor. And when it came to the Irish, you know, they'll say, oh, well, you know, they were working for 7 years to pay for their trip over here. A lot of the Irish indentured servants were people that were just picked up off the streets of Ireland, kidnapped from Ireland, and put onto a boat. The same way. So it doesn't really paint the whole story. Let's see. Williams 85 says, definitely an information war. We part of this. It is an information war. It is it's a propaganda war, really, because most of what the left pushes, it's not just information. It is disinformation, and it is inaccurate information, and it is it's taken out of context. It's not just information. It is a war for the hearts and minds. It is not a kinetic war. But if you do not believe that we are in a war for the heart and soul of this nation, then you are not paying attention. But I think everybody in here, I think everybody in the chats in the Revved Up Rebel Nation, they know exactly what the fuck is going on here. We are at war. We are at war, and it's time that we on the right started acting like it, started realizing what is at stake. And that's one of the things that part of the project that I'm working on, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about primarily is getting over this cowardice on the right and actually having the will to push forward and preserve our nation. It seems like so many people, you know, you have these private conversations with people and they'll agree with you all day. But when it comes to publicly stating their positions, they're too fucking terrified. We need to get over this cowardice because this is an existential evil that we face in the communist insurgency here in America. It is existential. The life of America depends on it, and our livelihoods along with it. Because anybody who stands up, if they win this, guess who's first? Guess who's going to the fucking gulags? Me. And they'll probably track you guys down from the comment sections too. That's how serious this shit can get. Mario C says Trump train. Yes. Trump train 2024 or Trump train fall of 2021. We'll have to see how this comes out. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about the what's going on with the election audit, but I got a feeling that before long, we are not even going to be able to talk about the Arizona audit here on YouTube, or we will be banned. I've got just a guess that that's what's going to be coming. That's what's going to be coming. Mario C says the auto suggestion suggested treason after the T word. I mean, we have there is definitely a lot of treason going on, and what pisses me off more than anything is when you have these leftists who are out there degrading and diminishing all of the American ideals and principles, and they have the gall to get on CNN and MSDNC and all of these other networks and say that the people that were, you know, at January 6th, the people that are Trump supporters, the people that are conservatives, that are actually looking to preserve and conserve the founding ideals of this nation, saying that we are the traitors, that we are the ones committing treason, that we are the ones committing sedition and insurrection. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. They gaslight us non-stop. We even hear Jen Psaki's now coming out and saying that it's the Republicans that were pushing to defund the police. You know, Alex Jones described gaslighting the best that I've heard. And he said that it's when you punch somebody in the face, and when they say, why the hell did you punch me in the face? Yeah, I didn't punch you in the face. You punched yourself in the face. And then they get everyone around them to also say, yeah, you punched yourself in the face, so that you think you're insane for believing your own lying eyes. They are gaslighting us nonstop. We got Zach Horton in here. Says, how's everyone doing this evening? We are glad to be back out and speaking again. That's how we are. Good to have you back in here, Zach Horton. Good to see you again. Let's see. Whitney Rose says Saki is an obvious idiot. I mean, the thing about Saki is she is awful. She is an awful human being. But I would not go so far as to call her an idiot, because when you watch the way that she ducks, dodges, and never gives never gives the premise to anybody that's asking her a tough question, she is pretty masterful at doing that. I mean, you cannot underestimate evil. You can't say that just because somebody is evil, just because somebody is doing something that is disgusting and despicable, that they are idiots. Because evil can be very ingenious, and she is very good at doing that, which is little disturbing. All right, so let's see. Next we got, okay, now this is exactly what I was talking about here when I was talking about those who actually, you know, let me just play this and then I'll talk about it. Let me just play it and then talk about it.
My 4-year-old just came up to me and asked if she could play with my Dumbo Trump flag. And I said, my Dumbo Trump flag? I don't have one of those. And yeah, she calls him Dumbo. I just never corrected her. And she goes, yeah, you do. This one. And I feel like it's kind of profound. Did he ruin the flag for anybody else? Just me?
And this is, you know, the left, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though, when I say that the left, who hates America, who hates everything that it stands for, we've gotten to the point where even the American flag, the flag of our nation, is a partisan symbol. Because it's only conservatives that wave the flag, because we want to conserve. The flag stands for something. It stands for principles that were set forth in 1776 and 1791 in the founding years of our country. The left hates that and everything that it stands for. That is why they are replacing it with their progress flag or their pride flag, that is basically just an amalgam of everything that does not represent the founding of the country. They hate straight white men, not because of straight white men. They hate us because we represent exactly who the founding fathers were. If the founding fathers were a bunch of, you know, gender queer, BIPOC, whatevers, that's who they would hate today. That's who they would hate today. But because it was founded by straight white men and they hate everything that we stand for, that is why they go after us. We are a symbol. Everything is about symbols and taking down the symbols that reflect a history of a nation they intrinsically hate. Knight's Gambit says, I'm proud to be an American. Yes, me too. Me too. I am very proud to be an American. I am so thankful that I was born in this country, and that's why I am willing to fight to preserve what this nation is supposed to be. Barracuda says they like the black Antifa flag. Yeah, they like that. They do. I saw someone say earlier today that it was some tweet where somebody said that anti-communist is just a code word for fascist. No. That's not true. That is not true. You know, that really reflects back to Weimar Germany, where you essentially just had a entirely different governmental structure. We have rights, liberties, and freedoms in this country that did not exist in Weimar Germany. It is not the same fucking thing. But they keep trying to harken back to a foreign era and a foreign land and a past era in order to and then they project that onto America today. America has always been against fascism. Fascism is a left-wing ideology, as is socialism, as is communism. They are different forms of leftism. Any sort of authoritarian structure in the American scale is left. To be right would be to be small government, unintrusive, freedom, liberty, personal prosperity. That is individualism. Those are the principles of the American right. It's not fucking fascism. That is a leftist agenda here in America. Whitney Rose says, to be fair, straight white men are also the ones simping for social justice. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, I mean, yes, there are some of them. But it's you feminists. It's the feminists that are out there. I don't want to say you feminists because I know you guys aren't feminists in here. But nobody is pushing this agenda more than the white feminist women. They are pushing the agenda like crazy. Let's see. Whitney Rose says, real men are a rarity nowadays. At least they make it obvious, I guess. I mean, pretty much everybody wears their identity on their sleeve at this point. William85 says, do you guys listen to Burden? The Black Flag song is fire. I love Burden, man. I did a reaction to his, which song was it? We the People. I did a reaction to that one. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. I need to do a reaction for the one he did with Mises, Riot for Me. That shit's a banger. I have not checked out the Black Flag song, though. I gotta check that out. Burden is awesome. He's out there doing sort of the Tom McDonald thing, but very different style. He's in his own lane as well. But yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Thanks for letting me know about that. Oh God, now this, all right, here we go.
You know it's illegal to be straight this weekend? Because it's pride. That's the law. That's the law. I don't make the law. It's the law, you have to follow the law. Right? She agrees.
The thing that worries me most, it's not the fact that this person thinks that there is a law that means you have to be gay over a weekend. No, that's clearly not true. The thing that worries me most is that this thing is standing on a playground. We went through this on Saturday, but let's just go ahead and say it again. The left are pedos. 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 We just need to repeat that. Anytime they say that we are racist, bigot, homophobes, what the fuck ever, the response should be, and you're a fucking pedophile. If you are pushing to if you are looking to press homosexuality onto little children, you might be a pedo. You might be a fucking pedophile. It really is amazing how much pedophilia really does resonate on the left. How much they push that kind of thing. It's really disgusting. Pennywise is crying. What the fuck kind of clown is that? That is the clown for the modern age. But then again, I mean, all of these people that are out there pushing this LGBT nonsense. And, I'm getting to the point where I don't intrinsically give one flying fuck whether somebody is straight or gay. If you are gay, whatever, good for you. But I'm starting to get to the point where we just need to be like, all right, enough, back in the closet, all of you. Because we gave you a chance to be part of polite society. We did. We even rewrote what marriage means so that you can be included in it. And how do you repay us? You certainly have not fit in with polite society. You try to trans our kids. You try to send them to drag queen story hours. You do all of this shit. They are not acting in good faith. They are abusing the goodwill of American people. And so at this point, it's just like, oh, we gave you a chance. It's not working out, guys. It's just not working out. Back in the fucking closet. Again, I got no problem intrinsically with somebody who is gay or whatever. Do you? But when you start pushing these social movements, when we finally open the doors and be inclusive to you, and your response is to turn around and try to trans the kids, nah, fuck no. And this is exactly what I'm talking about not being a coward and having the courage to stand up publicly and state positions like this. State positions that you have gone too far, and we are going to pull the plug if you do not shape the fuck up. It defies all human decency. It defies all human decency, the stuff that they are pushing. Chelly Chell says, I'm with you, Ram. Never cared, but now they annoy the fuck out of me. Exactly. Again, I don't give a shit inherently, but I'm also I'm not going to put up with this shit. I'm not going to put up with this shit. We gave you goodwill. We gave you an olive branch of some sort of inclusivity, and you spit in our faces. You are not engaging with us in any form or fashion of goodwill. So what are we supposed to do? Keep placating you? Put up with this sort of bad behavior? No, fuck that. Fuck that. All right. Next, we got, okay, this one, I'm assuming that this girl at the beginning here is Christian. So she says, I'm really scared for this generation.
I'm really scared for this generation. First off, no wonder I can't find my crystals and my rocks because this bitch chews on them. But other than you looking like you chew on a box of rocks, let's go on to why you're wrong. You're sitting here believing in a god and a civilization above our clouds and a woman that was a virgin and gave birth to a child named Jesus Christ. You believe in a book that was rewritten by man 800,000 times, if not more, by a white supremacist man at that. This book says respect thy neighbor as thy own, unless they are a woman, black, trans, pregnant, before marriage. Yeah. In that case, stone them to death. It says that in your shitty-ass book. And you guys shame people for walking around with crystals which scientifically carry energy. But you motherfuckers carry around a bottle of water and think it's praised and a Bible that was rewritten by man. You're weird. You have some weird sort of God complex in your brain. And I'm pretty sure people like us are also very concerned and worried for our generation. You know why? Because people like you exist.
These people show extremely shallow understandings of what Christianity is actually about. They are overly consumed by bitterness, and you can see that. You can see that. She is a very, very bitter person. And they have no understanding for what the Bible actually says, what it actually means, and they take that out, and they say, they take that out on us, and they say ridiculous things like what she just said, with no foundation in reality, a level of understanding so shallow that if you were to step in it, it wouldn't even cover the soles of your shoes. It is that fucking shallow. Yeah, Robert Chalk, I think you're new in here. You say so edgy. Yeah, exactly. Just trying to be edgy. Just trying to be edgy. We got old man in here. What is how escaped the gulags and is actually starting to grow. We got Ronald Jarvis in here. What is up, Ronald Jarvis? Welcome back. Good to have you in here. Yeah, what a creep. Exactly. Ooh, sorry. Need to drink some of that water that we put in a bottle and think is blessed. Actually, a friend of mine sent me this. I guess back home. You guys all know that I'm a huge Chipper Jones fan. I've got a bunch of Chipper Jones memorabilia back there. Somebody from back home sent me this. It was a bottle of Sugarland Shine Chipper Jones Sweet Tea Moonshine. I can't wait to go back and get me bottles and bottles and bottles of Chipper Jones Sweet Tea Moonshine. It was awesome. So, anyways. Now, we had this person right here, Pete Dominic. Someone explain to me what is so wrong with a child twerking. I still do not understand. What is the concern? I think this person has a disease that can only be cured with a very special pill. We can even let him... So, what is wrong with a child twerking? Because twerking is an inherently sexualized dance. That's why it's done by strippers. That is why it's what strippers do. Because, now, what are you going to say? That strippers are... a strip club or stripping is not a sexualized form of dance? These people are lunatics. And they're pedos. No. They're not. They're pedos. They're evil. They're evil pedophiles. So, Pete Dominic, everybody, remember that name. Fucking pedophile. Let's see. Whitney Rose says Chipper was every boy's role model. Yeah, growing up in Georgia in the 90s, man, everybody wanted to be Chipper Jones. And I remember I was I think like 9 or 10 years old, and I went to a game. Chipper Jones was a rookie. This was like 94 or 95. And it was his rookie year, or maybe it wasn't even quite his rookie year yet. I think he played some in 94 before he actually had his rookie year in 95. And he and Ryan Klesko were the only two signing baseballs. And I got this baseball that he signed back when his rookie year, and I still have it to this day. So ever since then, I've just been a huge Chipper Jones fan. Also, I know that he was never juicing, which was, big thing. But I don't want to go off on a whole tangent about baseball. I do love baseball as a sport, but I am a little pissed at what they've done this year as well, going into the woke nonsense. Ronald Jarvis says Hollywood sucks. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that's why I am... kind of getting out of that whole Hollywood. I was working in Hollywood and trying to work in the film industry, and I'm just fucking over it. I'm just fucking over it. Let's see. Yeah, Whitney Rose says Hollywood is pedo. Yeah. Oh, Hollywood is real pedo. And when I moved out there, when I moved out, and started living in Hollywood itself, I had no idea what was going on. And after finding out more stuff, I was like, get me the fuck out of this place. Not to mention that it just turned into an absolute shithole. So I moved a little further north. But, yeah, good to be out of Hollywood. It was just homeless camps everywhere. Homeless camps as far as the eye could see. More tents than apartment buildings there. And it's just too fucking expensive. Let's see. Now, we got this. Mom brags that her trans daughter is going through early menopause caused by hormone blockers. This is child abuse. This is child abuse by these parents. There is no other way to describe this woman than abusive towards her child when you are bragging that your teenage daughter is going through early menopause because you have put her on hormone blockers. So, a mother of a gender-confused child recently boasted that her daughter, who identifies as a boy, is going through so-called early menopause due to the hormone blockers she has the child on. Carolyn Tate, based in Brisbane, Australia, wrote in April that her gender-confused daughter is going through early menopause, and she's so proud of him. Not to mention that when you give... Well, fucking up their biology aside, when you start giving them, when you start giving a boy estrogen or a girl testosterone, those will cause cancer in that person. It will turn their ligaments into it'll make them brittle so that they break easily. They're going to destroy their bodies. You're destroying the body of your child, and you are bragging about it because of this woke ideology. No. I need to stop saying the word woke ideology. The left coined the word woke. We need to stop saying it. Communist. This communist ideology. This is all backed by cultural Marxism. We really do need to be careful about how we choose the words and the way that we talk about this stuff so that we are accurate and do not let them use euphemisms to confuse people on what actually is going on. It is communism. So she says, my 15-year-old son started feeling nauseous and a bit off a couple weeks ago. He skipped dinner and headed to bed early, but the next morning he still wasn't himself. The nausea had lifted, but it was replaced by with sweats and hot flashes, Tate wrote, adding, it was when we started Googling the symptoms that the penny dropped. My son was going through menopause. Just rewind the clock 10 years. Did you ever think that you would read a sentence like that? My son was going through menopause. This stuff is intolerable, guys. We cannot keep tolerating this shit. And I'm not even saying accepting it. At first we were told to tolerate, and so we tolerated. Then they said we have to accept. And then that was enough. We have to celebrate everything. No. We are not celebrating it, we are not accepting it, and we will not even tolerate this shit. We should not be tolerating this. So, her child can't medically transition at just 15 years old. Since her child can't medically transition at just 15 years old, Tate put her on puberty blockers. When the child turns 16, Tate said she will put her on testosterone, which could impact her fertility, according to St. Louis Children's Hospital. Tate evidenced her daughter being a boy by citing the girl's willingness to be injected with a needle that looks big enough to sedate a horse, even though she's usually needle phobic. The drug is administered via a needle that looks big enough to sedate a horse, and it was watching my usually needle phobic daughter, calmly accepting her first injection a few weeks ago with barely a wince that gave me a new appreciation for how deeply she is ready for her transition to progress, the journalist wrote. So I try to replace the pronouns in there, which but seeing just because the child who does not have the ability to consent, does not have the agency of an adult, is willing enough to take the jab, so to say, does not mean that it is any more factually correct. This person is likely going to grow up and grow out of whatever this is, and by then, their mother will have fucked her up so bad that it will be completely irreversible, and they will never be able to go back. on these decisions they made when they were going through some phase as a child. Most of these kids grow out of it. I think it's about 95. It was like 85 to 95% of kids end up growing out of this and end up just being, homosexual or whatever. Jelly Chell says, Ram, did you ever see the documentary about Bruce and Brian? I think those were the names in Canada years ago. Very interesting. No, I didn't. Well, never even heard of it, actually. If you know the name of it, that would be... I'd be interested in checking that out. What's it about? I'm assuming it has something to do with the transgender ideology. But actually, let's go into. Wow, I got through the. I tried to do a little less Clown World commentary because I want to make sure we cover the news. So let's go into our intermission real quick, and we'll be back with the news in just a minute.
Every time who I am, well, how dare I'm a man, 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
All right, so Ronald Jarvis says clown thumbs down. Yeah, well, it's all Clown World right now. We got to give all the clowns a thumb down, but go ahead and smash that thumbs up button smash the like button for this stream so that YouTube will maybe suggest this to other people who watch mostly conservative content. We all know that they try to gulag content creators like myself. So let's try to do what we can to spread the word about this channel. Cholo says, botched circumcision led to one being raised a girl. Doctor encouraged it. I will see if I can find another link or the name. Wow, ugh. God damn. Wow. There was a kid. Have anybody ever watched the show The League? I don't want to get all into it, but apparently there was a joke about Andre and the character in that show having something similar. But let's see. Looking to see what you guys are talking about in here. Oh, the coolest nerd says, yet they still claim that puberty blockers are totally reversible. No, they're not. You cannot put some sort of puberty blocker into somebody's body and disrupt their entire natural growth process and say that doesn't have any long-lasting or permanent irreversible effects. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. Let's see. Now, this shit really fucking irked me right here. This article from the Daily Wire. Let me fix this. Do a little live editing here. Little live editing for the show. All right. National Archives Task Force says that America's founding documents show systemic racism and suggest trigger warnings and dance performances. Because that's what cures everything is some sort of performance art. Some interpretive lesbian dance performance is the cure to all of our social ills. Let's see here. So, in an exclusive report out Sunday, Fox News noted that a little-noticed report from a National Archives task force on racism suggested the building where America's founding documents are displayed was an example of structural racism and suggested major changes to how the Constitution and other notable records are presented in order to provide context. The group also reportedly suggested that the National Archives' portrayal of individual founding fathers was too positive. Guys, if this is not Marxism, then what the fuck is trying to... I mean, just look at Yuri Bezmenov. I mean, look at his speech with G. Edward Griffin back in 1984 when he talked about the demoralization process. We have now institutionalized the demoralization of the founding principles to the point where it's they are talking about putting trigger warnings on our founding fucking documents. All right, so the group Fox News says Sunday claimed in a little-noticed report to the U.S.'s top librarian that the archive's own rotunda, which houses the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, is an example of structural racism, and that the Founding Fathers and other white, historically impactful Americans are portrayed too positively. Now, this is where you know that it is Marxist subversion, because they start talking about how it talks. Well, here, let me just read the next paragraph, and then I'll get to the point that I was going to make. The task force, which completed its work in April, noted that structural racism included legacy descriptions that use racial slurs and harmful language to describe BIPOC communities, like racial slurs, but also terms like elderly, handicapped, and illegal aliens. So, you know that this is Marxism, that it is strictly to demoralize a nation when they start talking about how the founding documents they only credited rich white men and not BIPOC communities. The historical accuracy of the founding of this country was that we were founded by white men. We were founded by English settlers from England. Not even just white men. It was from England. It wasn't founded by Czech or Slavic white men. It wasn't founded by Scandinavian white men. It was founded by British Anglo-Saxon white men. There is a reason why the founding documents are going to focus on the contributions of white men. It's because, historically speaking, they founded this nation. They are the ones who wrote the founding documents. That just is what it is. That's not some... There's no racial statement to be made in there. It's just like, are we going to start complaining that there are no Nigerians in the founding documents of fucking Japan? No. It's probably all Japanese people. Gee, I wonder the fuck why. Where are all the contributions of all the white men in the founding of Angola? Why are they only showing the black people in there? Gee, I don't know. Maybe it's because that nation was founded by black people. Jesus. Let's see. The coolest nerd says, I forgot his name, but there was some third-party presidential candidate last year whose platform included removing the 3/5 compromise from the Constitution. This idiocy reminds me of his. Yeah, I don't know who it would have been. But the 3/5 compromise, people don't even understand the context of the 3/5 compromise. I bet if you ask almost any Democrat, what was it, the North or the South that wanted to count the black people as 3/5 or the slaves as 3/5 of a person, they would say, "Oh, it's the racist Southerners." Well, I mean, I'm not saying that the Southerners weren't racist or anything. Slavery was clearly awful. But they don't understand the context of the 3/5 compromise. The South wanted them fully represented because that would mean that they had more representatives in Washington. The North didn't want them represented at all because they didn't have agency, which is a good argument. But the compromise of 3/5 was just that. It was about representation. It wasn't about whether somebody was considered a fraction of a human. That argument doesn't even make sense. It was about representation of the states in Washington, D.C. Let's see. Chelly Chell says, as nature made him, the bit that was raised as a girl by John Colapinto is a book about it, and I believe and believe it or not, Oprah did an interview on her network. But I know you can find. Okay, I'll look into it. Was that the John Money thing? Because I do know the story about John Money, and we all know how that ended up working out. 2 suicides. But you got Tash, God of Fools. Welcome back. Good to have you in here. Says, do you know what white men are good at? Concerning. I don't. I'm not sure what that question is, but. Conquering. Okay, conquering. Well, you know who was even better at conquering? The fucking Mongolians. And there have been conquerors of all different races throughout the world, throughout world history. But yeah, we conquered America, yes. And the whole idea of the indigenous, the Native Americans being this one world peaceful tribe. First of all, they didn't have settled land. Most of the land that America was in was not occupied. Most of it was just wilderness that even Native Americans were not in. Tribes had their roaming areas, but guess what? They warred with each other. They stole land from each other. We were just another tribe. We were just another tribe, and we ended up winning after 400 fucking years. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Chelo says, yes, that may be it. He ended up committing suicide, and so did his brother. It's tragic. Yeah, that is the John Money story, I think. Yeah, John Money was, anyways, let me get back to this story because we've gotten off the beaten track here. But the National Archives Rotunda fell under serious scrutiny because its frescoes and displays laud the achievements of wealthy white men in the nation's founding while marginalizing BIPOC women and other communities. All right, well, that was really what I wanted to read before I went into that whole diatribe. But yeah, it's because we were founded by wealthy white men. That is who founded this country. This country wasn't founded by anybody else. And you know, the left likes to say, in the whole 1619 Project, that slavery built this nation. No, the fuck it didn't. No, it didn't. We do not have skyscrapers of cotton. That did not happen. Styx Hexenhammer just did a really good video on this, where he was talking about how, you know, it was things like the Homestead Act. It was things like the Louisiana Purchase. It was things like the growing technology and us having ample land to build a nation upon that set us forth as an empire, which is exactly right. We were able to start from scratch with massive land and an era where technological development was moving forward, and we were able to start with that as the basis, as the building blocks to our nation. We didn't have a whole bunch of history behind it that would have gotten in the way of that. So, but you know, don't actually look to the left to think things through and be honest about about the truth of history. Because just like Karl Marx said, I mean, communism was supposed to end history. That all history was just a series of one series of oppression after another. That's not true. That's not true. So they suggested that the National Archives engage in activities that could provide context to the Rotunda documents through dance or performative art in the space that invites dialogue about the ways that the United States has mythologized the founding era. So we're gonna have some like slam poetry and lesbian dance theory performance art in the rotunda of our. So when you go to read the Declaration of Independence, when you go to see the Constitution itself, you are going to have some BIPOC lesbian dance troupe in there stomping on the ground and distracting you the entire fucking time. Jesus Christ. Dance or performance art? How fucking trivial. How trivial. I mean, God. Charlie Shell says they are revisionist historians. Exactly. They are complete revisionists. But, you know, that's the way they have to do it, though, because they don't want to look at history as a course of what happened. They have to look at it as a history of oppression. That's why they're fucking communists. This is Marxism 101, is to view history through a lens of oppression. Not through a series of events that happened that led from one thing to the next and that ended up where we are today. No, it's just a history of oppression, and that is exactly what this entire story represents right here. Brown Green is new in here, says football is super gay. Yes, it is. Tessian Rousseau is in here. What is up, Tessian? Does it say anything about Obamacare? I heard SCOTUS upheld it as constitutional. Yeah, don't even get me going on SCOTUS right now. Don't even get me going on SCOTUS. What the fuck good was Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh? They have been nothing but goddamn cowards ever since they went in there. All right, let me get through. All right, sorry, guys. I keep talking to you guys. Let me get through this this story here before we continue with the conversations. So, as for the documents and displays, the committee suggested trigger warnings for individuals who might suffer physiological and psychological symptoms as a result of coming into contact with the information and artwork in the rotunda. We have a task force from the National Archives talking about trigger warnings for physiological and psychological symptoms as a result of coming in contact with the founding documents of their own nation. Guys, they have infested everything. These are fucking Marxist termites eating away at the foundational structure of this country. So, providing an advisory notice to users gives us an opportunity to mitigate the harm and contextualize the records, the report says, per Fox. It creates a space to share with the public our ultimate goals of reparative description demonstrate our commitment to the process, and address any barriers that we may face in achieving these goals. I don't even know what those words mean. That is just a endless stream of word salad. Doesn't even mean anything. So, i.e. the size and scope of the catalog and the ever-evolving knowledge we gain regarding what is harmful. No, we do not have ever-evolving knowledge of what is harmful. We know what is harmful. The founding documents are not harmful. The founding documents paved the way for the freest, most tolerant, most accepting society in the history of the whole planet. And that to them is the problem. Because when you have a society that is integrated, when you have a society that is open, that is tolerant, that is accepting, you can no longer divide the people. We are supposed to be united under the principles that all men are created equal. So the committee also suggested the National Archives add safe spaces where visitors having difficulties could take a time out and process the information. If you go to visit the National Archives and you go and you look at the founding documents and you need a safe space, you don't need a safe space. What you need is a one-way ticket to the Xinjiang province of fucking China. Go and see what actual oppression looks like. One-way ticket to North Korea. How's that? Go have a seance with fucking Otto War. What was it? What was his last name? Warmier or something. The 22-year-old kid who got beat to death in North Korea and died after getting shipped back here. I keep wanting to say a Warbinger or something, but it was something like that. Anyways, as for the founders, the committee had ideas about how to contextualize Revolutionary War heroes, including the author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson. Now, get fucked. Get fucked. Maybe talk about how even he, despite being a slave owner, was able to admit that slavery was an evil practice. No. But anyways, guys, enough with that story. This shit just gets my blood boiling to see that our own institutions are trying to tear us down. We have been infiltrated all the way to the core. All right, now, we do, the old comm block, the old communist block is starting to look like the most based place in the world. I'm starting to think, do I need to move to the old communist bloc, to Eastern Europe? No, I would never leave America. I would never leave my country in a time of need. I am here to fight until the bitter fucking end. But holy hell, do we see what is going on in Eastern Europe, and they are looking based. So, Czech president supports Hungary's anti-LGBTQ content bill. Transgender people to me are disgusting. Holy shit. We need people like this in America that are willing to stand up and say the truth, say what they truly believe, and stop being so damn scared of the political blowback. Because you're going to find out that if enough of us start speaking up, if enough of us start saying what it is that we truly believe and start pushing back against this insanity, against this nonsense, we're going to see that the majority of America is on our side. But they are scared because they don't feel like they have the numbers. We do have the numbers. The far left, these crazy, insane Marxists, they make up like 10 to 15% of this country. But because they have stolen the institutional power, and because they are able to amplify their message through all of our media, through social media, through all of our corporations, through the NFL, all these fucking places, because they have been able to do that, they are able to make themselves look more powerful and more dominant than they actually are. Most people do not support this stuff. So, the president of the Czech Republic called transgender people disgusting during a discussion with an anti-LGBTQ law in Hungary. I can understand gays, lesbians, and so on, but do you know who I do not understand at all? These transgender people. If you undergo a sex change operation, you are basically committing a crime of self-harm. It's self-mutilation. It's self-mutilation. All right, so Czech President Milos Zeman said during the interview with the CNN Prima News on Sunday, "Every surgery is a risk, and these transgender people to me are disgusting." Zeman expressed support during the interview for the recent Hungarian bill that banned gay and transgender content from being shown to minors. Yes. Why do we not have people that are willing to press forward with these ideas here in America? We have bastardized our understanding of liberty to think that liberty means anything goes. Anything does not go. We always need a set of standards. The Founding Father says, do not let liberty give way to licentiousness. All right. But, so he explained his annoyance with the left-wing elements of his own country while defending Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban for taking a stance against the manipulation of children. This shit is based. Yes. Oh, we got JG Mopar in here. What is up, JG Mopar? Good to have you back. Says, damn, I'm really late but super straight. Yes. We are super straight in this channel. You can be over at Plebeian Media, be late and gay, but when you're here, you're late and super straight. I love it. So, and also, I love the folks over at Plebeian Media. They're awesome. I'm not ripping on them. They just have that saying, I'm late and gay. So, it's just funny. So, Viktor Orban says he is not against homosexuals, but that he is against the manipulation not only of parents, but also of children in sex education. I see no reason to disagree with him because I am completely annoyed by the suffragettes, the Me Too movement, and the Prague Pride. Holy shit. The suffragettes, too. You guys know one of my most controversial opinions is that the 19th Amendment was a mistake. Sorry, ladies out there. You know I love you all. Lots of based women, but holy hell. The feminist movement... it's kind of funny because it almost seems like all this trans ideology is turning me into a feminist because I'm constantly defending the women that are having to deal with men infiltrating their sports, and now they're fucking beauty pageants. You hear a transgender, a man that thinks it's a woman, has now won the Nevada Miss USA, or Miss Nevada, whatever the fuck they call it. Whatever they call it. And now I'm sitting here sounding like a feminist. You got to defend but women need to be defended. They need to have their space defended. These are men coming into their fucking boxing rings, Fallon Fox smashing some woman's skull open. They're going into the Tokyo Olympics. They're going to be competing against women and destroying them. It sucks. It sucks. I'm just waiting till all these feminists that have been pushing this Marxist ideology stop and realize the havoc that they have wrought and then fix their ways and start waving Trump flags with us. Sensei of Song, I see that, but I'm not going to read that one. Holy shit, you guys are hilarious. Mad lads out here. Now, this is, you guys have probably seen this already, but I've got to play this just because it's so hilarious. Woman furious at spa for letting man enter the women's section. What sexual orientation? I see a dick. I mean, you can't get much more straight up than that. You cannot get much more straight up than that. So, an irate woman lashed out at a Los Angeles spa for letting a naked man into the women's section. And so let's.
We spa, so you don't. So it's okay. I just want to be clear with you. It's okay. It's okay for a man to go into the women's section, show his penis around the other women, young little girls underage. Your spa, we spa, condone that. Is that what you're saying? Like I asked, it's so he can stay there. He can stay there. What sexual orientation? I see a dick. It lets me know he's a man. He's a man. He is a man. He is not no female. He is not a female. He is not a female. Hold on. He is not a female, sweetie. Okay? Girls down there, other women who are highly offended for what they just saw. And you did nothing. Absolutely nothing. In fact, you sided with him. So We Spa is an agreement with men that just say they are a woman and they can go down there with their penis and get into the women's section. Is that what you're saying? What really? What law? What law? So women can go into the men's with their breasts. Okay.
Whitney Rose says, of course it was a black woman. They speak up. Yeah, I know. I was about to say, this woman doesn't sound white to me. This woman doesn't sound white. This sounds like a black woman. And it's so funny because when California tried to pass Prop 8 back like mid-2000s or something to legalize gay marriage in California, and it was voted down, they were also like, how did it not pass? How did it not pass? You want to know why it didn't pass? Because the black vote. Because the black base is actually far more conservative than people realize. But I don't know why, and they're starting to wake the hell up to what the Democrats are doing. The Democrats are no longer able to hide just how insanely radical left they are, and black people are sitting there starting to be like, whoa, hold on, we don't support this shit. We don't support this shit. I think the amount of black people that are going to vote Republican is up to around 40% now. It's up to around 40%. Tessie Russo says it's not really their fault. The man can sue them for discrimination against delusional men. I mean, still, that's fucked. That's fucked. They shouldn't be able to do that. They shouldn't be able to do that. Sensei of Song says my black homies are hard right. Yeah, most black. Look, I'm from Atlanta, and I worked in the rap game. I used to hang out at like just straight up black clubs where me and my buddy would be the only white people in the entire club. Had a great fucking time. I used to hang around just tons of black people working in the hip hop game in Atlanta. They're not that liberal. They are not. They do not put up with a lot of this liberal bullshit. I can tell you that first fucking hand. A lot of them, like, they'll vote Democrat just because for some reason, I'm not even going to get into why that is, but a lot of them, they don't believe in the platform of the Democrats, yet they vote for them for some reason. But that's starting to change. That's starting to change pretty quick. Whitney Rose says Magic City. Nah, I never went to Magic City. I did go to Strokers once. But, I used to hang out at, like, Taboo 2 and Legends and different places there where, certain DJs would be working and my buddy would be trying to promote different artists that he was working with and stuff with these DJs and everything. And it was a blast. It was a blast. Whitney Rose says black people are way more conservative than the media gives them credit for. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to dupe. And actually, Tracy James sent me this awesome letter from that Jason Whitlock wrote to Black America, and I was going to kind of save it and see if I got to it. I'm going to read that in just a minute, though, but I want to play the second video because there's part 2, because we've got this white male ally of the transgenders comes up and tries to check this woman, and she ain't having none of it. It's fucking great.
You do. Are you? So
I understand.
No. Yeah. Okay. It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Okay. That's traumatizing to see that. I'm a woman. I think this is a place right here. I'm told only for women. So how dare you sit up here and tell me I don't have a right as a woman to defend?
If it's a transgender.
I'm telling you, he has a penis. A full and testicles. Okay. And I don't care what it's called. It's a man. You got one? You're a man. Okay.
And if we went into the men's
Based. Oh, hold on. I think there was another woman. What was she saying? Another woman in the back there.
section with our anatomy, that would be...
Well, it would probably, but you might not like women, so it might not, okay? And
so there was another woman there that apparently is backing her up on this. So... You know, and this dude's sitting there, he's like, oh, man, how hard do I push back? Because if I keep pushing back, I'm a fucking racist. If I don't push back, I'm a transphobe. That's the left will always eat itself because you're going to see these different coalitions, these different boxes that they have shoved everybody into are going to run up against each other. And they are going to, at some point, have altercations between them. But since we were talking about it, I do want to I want to read this real quick. This is Tracy James sent this to me, so thank you, Tracy. Says, Fearless, Jason Whitlock's letter to Black America explaining the real purpose of made-for-TV racial conflict. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read sort of the maybe the first half of it or so, because it is fairly long. But he says, Dear black people, we are being lied to and set up. The mainstream media, Democrat politicians, and social justice activists, and perhaps even your church pastor, have led you to believe America is in the midst of a racial conflict similar to the Civil War and the Civil Rights Movement. Excuse me. They have pitted us against the Proud Boys, the KKK, rural militia groups, and Trump supporters in a made-for-TV race war. Just 5 years after Barack Obama completed 2 terms as president of the United States, we're supposed to believe that America has been overrun by violent white supremacists determined to reinstate segregation, Jim Crow laws, and maybe even slavery. The fact is that it's kind of true, but it's the Democrats. They're the ones that are pushing for actual segregation. I mean, just look at what happened with the University of Michigan in their Dearborn campus, where they had a non-BIPOC-only cafe, which is Marxist speak for whites-only cafe. So we are seeing a lot of this segregation, this Jim Crow-era segregation, coming from the same people that are pushing this race war. But anyways, I digress. Evidence of this massive wave of 1920s-style bigotry amounts to 3 things. 1, Republicans want all voters to show a government-issue ID. 2, on January 6th, unarmed Trump supporters crashed the Capitol and took pictures inside Nancy Pelosi's office. 3, across the nation, police kill an average of 250 black men and 450 white men per year. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a 4th piece of evidence. Colin Kaepernick failed to land a job as a starting quarterback after pissing off a large segment of football fans by taking a knee during the national anthem. Those are the main smoking guns proving that white supremacy is the most dangerous domestic threat America faces. George Floyd, a habitual criminal and drug addict, is the Crispus Attucks of this raging race war. He is our rallying cry and hero. It's a setup. We're being used as decoys and distractions in a war that has nothing to do with race. The real war is about global power and the future of America's system of government. The country's elite global citizens and corporations prefer communism over capitalism and democracy. Republicanism. Come on, guys. Jason Whitlock, we're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. They prefer China's system over our system. America has been the world's leader in racial progress and fairness. The mainstream media are not allowed to explain this to you. Advertisers, aka major corporations, will no longer support media outlets that back our current democratic and capitalistic systems of governance. You say what about Fox News? Turn it on. It's filled with a bunch of My Pillow and Wounded Soldier commercials. America's big global corporations, the ones looking to improve their market share in China, are not financially supporting Fox News. The most popular voices at Fox News dislike China. The faux race war the mainstream media have promoted is a tool being used to convince you and non-black Americans that our system of government has been a giant failure. They want you to believe that a great reset is necessary to achieve fairness. The reset is communism, which starts with the gateway drug of socialism and ends in full-blown Marxism. Honestly, I think it gets that a little bit off. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I mean, socialism is the endless pursuit of communism. I'll just leave it at that. But China is run by the Communist Chinese Party. Communism has no respect for individual freedom or religion of any kind. Communism has no tolerance for political dissent. Your religion and free speech will not survive the reset. Communism is racial oppression's best friend. When a nation is stripped of religious faith and free speech, few people have the courage to defend the rights of minorities. The elites cozying up to China do not care about you. They are aware of how despicably China treats black people. They are aware of how China squashes dissent. Do your own research on communism and what it stamps out and how it oppresses. Don't take my word. You might be wondering why Oprah Winfrey or LeBron James or some other super popular black celebrity isn't telling you what I am. They're global elites. The reset won't hurt them or their loved ones. Communism favors wealthy elites far more than capitalism and democracy do. Oprah, LeBron, and the other uber-wealthy black tokens will thrive under socialism and communism. You won't, unless you're a 6'6" basketball star or some other black entertainer capable of entertaining the people in power. That's a tiny percentage of black people. So I'm going to go ahead and stop reading there. I mean, it's a really good it's a really good letter, and it goes. You can see it's pretty lengthy. It goes on for quite a while. But he does a really good job, and we need more people like Jason Whitlock that are willing to talk about this stuff and talk directly to black people and wake them up to how the Democrats are using them, how the globalist elites are using them. They do not give a shit about black people. They never have. That's why they don't speak up when you have little black children that are killed by the Black Lives Matter movement. They don't say a fucking word about it because they don't give a shit. They don't care one bit. It's only us on the right that actually call out the true racism, the true way in which these people are being subverted and used as tools by people who are just seeking to gain power, who are just seeking to lord over them. But no, they don't want to listen to us. They don't want to listen to us. But anyways, time to get to the main story of today. I mean, really, I don't have main stories, but the thumbnail image story of today. Football's fucking gay. Football has gone super duper gay. Oh my god! All right, so and this isn't my terms. This is not me saying that football is gay. It's the NFL saying that football is gay. So, football is gay. NFL releases pro-LGBT ad. The National Football League released an ad Monday affirming homosexuality and transgender behavior, claiming football is gay, lesbian, queer, transgender, beautiful, and some other things. Now, watch this ad. You probably seen it, by the way. Yeah, I can't stand when people say like something is everything. They say football is everything. That's clearly not true. Football is not hockey. Football is not ballet. Football is just fucking football. It's a sport with its own set of rules, its own structure. It's its own game. It is not everything. Yeah, I got to, and then all right. Well, let me play the rest of this because they go on. So they're pushing for the Trevor Project. I kind of gotta wonder what the NFL stars of the 1970s, when football was super, like the 70s and 80s, when football was just super rough, super tough, super gritty. I gotta wonder what those people would say, seeing what the NFL has become. And you got to wonder. Me, among many others, we don't watch football anymore because we're sick of this shit. Most of the people who watch sports are, well, maybe not all sports, but football, baseball, very large conservative bases, because it is conservatives that believe that if you work hard and you put in the work, it will pay off the dividends, and we believe in the competition in a fair market. And, we believe in the precepts of competition, where communism, it's all about removing all conflict from humanity. Well, competition is inherently a conflict. It is one trying to win over the other. So they are pushing all of this on. They're advertising now to people who do not like sports because they do not like competition. They do not care about competition, and they are alienating and selling out their actual base. That's when you have to know that there is a massive coercive campaign going on amongst all of these elite, uber-rich people. among these globalists when they are willing to sell out the financial interests of their organization. This will not play out well for the NFL in the long run financially. They are alienating and disenfranchising their own base in order to market to people that will never watch their fucking sport, that have no interest in watching their sport. Yet they will politically alienate the people that do. That's when you know that something bigger is going on, that there is something coordinated, that there is something coerced behind all of this. Because this is not going to be a financial win for them. It's just going to push more people to say, you know what, I am fucking done with the NFL. I am over this. I do not want to deal with these people anymore. They do not represent me. They outwardly show disdain for me and my beliefs and, people of my ilk. But no, they move forward and they do it anyways. And of course we had, this comes out after Ryan Nassib becomes, or what was it? Ryan Nassib? Carl Nassib becomes the first openly gay football player. So leftists aghast at rumors that first openly gay NFL player is a Republican. And again, this also shows their true colors. Because it shows that they're not actually they don't actually care. They're not actually celebrating that we finally have a openly gay NFL player. Because once they find out that he's not part of their tribe, that he is not part of their cult, they throw him under the bus. Because we have to understand that these are proxy wars being fought between communism and a free society. The whole LGBT, the whole race thing, they are proxy wars. So, since announcing that he is a homosexual, Carl Nassib, NFL defensive end with the Las Vegas Raiders, has received praise from President Joe Biden and the establishment media. However, when rumors started to fly that Nassib is a Republican, he could have been a supporter of former President Donald Trump. His newly minted hero status hit a snag. So President Biden tweeted, "To Carl Nassib and Yumi Yokoyama, two prominent, inspiring athletes who came out this week, I'm so proud of your courage. Because of you, countless kids around the world are seeing themselves in a new light today." I think this Kumi Yokoyama, I think it's a soccer player who came out as they were lesbian and then they came out as transgender. So shouldn't they be kicked off the female soccer team then by their own standards? But, you cannot expect them to hold themselves accountable to their own standards because they are just weapons that they use against their political opposition in these proxy wars for communism. So, however, after reports that Nassib might be a Republican began to surface, it didn't take leftists long to let their true colors show. Most were obvious with their bias. So, Billy Howrad says, "I'm proud of and support Carl Nassib for coming out. Unless he's a Trump supporter, then that is just problematic." I hate that word, problematic. It's such a bitch word. Problematic. All right. Nassib was registered to vote as a Republican in 2 states as recently as 2019, according to reports. So, Watt Tyler says, "What Carl Nassib did was great, but apparently he is a Republican and a huge Trump fan, which probably does just as much damage to gay people as anything else." I don't know. There was a pretty big gays for Trump contingency at the Trump rallies that I went to in Beverly Hills. Big gays for Trump support there. So, also, wasn't Donald Trump the very first president who at the start of his presidency was in support of gay marriage? Now, I am against Donald Trump on that. I do not support gay marriage because I do not support the redefinition of marriage. Hell, I don't even support two straight people that have no intention of ever having kids to be married. I don't even support that as marriage. That's just a glorified relationship. But anyways, Carl Nassib is proof that so queer dominance is liberation is. God, Jesus Christ, these people. Tweets that Carl Nassib is proof that the NFL was waiting for a white gay to come out. Michael Sam came out and was blacklisted from the NFL, but Nassib comes out and the old boy is a hero. Get GTFOH. Plus, he's a Trump supporter, so I'm not going to praise or support a white Republican. First of all, Michael Sam was just not very good. He was drafted in the 7th round. He was one of the last people drafted in the draft, and most 7th rounders do not last long in the NFL. So, apparently, Carl Nassib is a registered Republican and Trump supporter. I don't care if he's gay and proud. That administration was evil, and he doesn't get a pass, said another Twitter user. Newsbusters, a media bias watchdog, reported on the changing tide. In the words of the late Howard Cosell, how quickly the scene changes. Earlier in the week, media hyped the big win with the news of the Las Vegas Raiders player boldly coming out of the closet. An NBC News think piece hoped it would be a turning point for male sports. Yahoo Sports columnist Dan Wetzel wrote, "Why Carl Nassib becoming the NFL's first openly gay active player matters so much." An NFL columnist raved about how Carl Nassib's courageous announcement changed and challenged the NFL. Newsweek called it a big LGBTQ win during Pride Month. In the story, Why Carl Nassib Matters, the Washington Post wrote, Carl Nassib's presence is a symbol of progress and a reminder of the perils facing gay men amid a backdrop of a new Republican push to target LGBTQ rights. Fuck out of here. Jesus. I thought I had something up. Man, I must have accidentally closed it. Let me see if I can find something here. No, I must have accidentally closed it. Shoot. So somebody wrote had a tweet that let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it's let me look and see if I can find this one here. Let's see. Okay, so there's this tweet. I gotta look for it. Give me just a second here. But there's this tweet somebody posted where they were basically talking about how we're entering a Christian dystopia, and okay, here we go. I found it. All right. So this person tweets, Apple banned Grindr from the App Store. Starting the day after tomorrow, you won't be able to buy and sell erotica on eBay. Texas just functionally banned strippers under the age of 21 and abortion. We are descending into a Christian dystopia, and y'all don't want to see it. They won't stop. I mean, I would love to see that Christian dystopia. If they call a Christian-backed country a dystopia, yeah, I do want to see that. And no, we won't fucking stop. We won't. No. We are going to take this country back from you fucking communists. We are going to take it back from you because we are waking up and we are realizing that we cannot placate you anymore. We are realizing that we must have the will and the courage to fight back against you to preserve our way of life. Go the fuck elsewhere if you don't like it. Ooh, love it. Ronald Jarvis says, Ram, you rock. Hey, I'm just out here spouting off at the mouth. But thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Man, you guys have been talking a lot. I really want to talk more to you guys, but I'm trying to get through the news. I always talk to you guys so damn much that I end up only getting to half the stories that I wanted to talk about. Let's see. A lot of you guys talking about the NFL being lost. Yeah, let's see. All right, so let me see what I have next on the docket. I just had to bring that up because this is one thing that we are seeing a lot of wins in the culture. They're small wins. They're not monumental, ground-shifting, earth-shattering wins that are giving us a win in the war, but we are winning a lot of very small victories, and they're happening in the culture, which is more evidence of what I was saying before, that the majority of this nation agrees with our stance, with our philosophy. They do not agree with this communist, neo-Marxist, proxy war of oppression, fight of cultural Marxism that the left keeps pushing on us. They do not have the numbers. The problem is that it will not really matter if we keep winning these small little victories if the institutions like the NFL show that they don't give a shit, and that they will continue to force us down this road whether we like it or not. And that is what we are mostly seeing from these institutions, is they don't give a shit what their constituents want. They don't give a shit what their fan base wants. What they're doing is they're going to shove it down our throat, and then they're going to assume that one day we are finally going to say, you know what, fine, let's, all right, we'll just deal with this. We'll just deal with this. I'll go watch football again. No, we're not coming back. We're fucking done. We're out. We're going to go invent a new goddamn sport if we have to. We're going to be done with you. We're not going to come back. You're not going to normalize this shit to us. You're not going to normalize little kids getting their fucking dicks chopped off. That is not cool. We are not going to stand for that. Never. And if you stand for that, if you push that, you're done to us. We're going to burn that bridge, and we will never rebuild it with you. Never. Whew, sorry, getting heated, man. These people piss me off. Jesus. All right. So let's see. What do we have next here? Oh yeah. Speaking of all these sports, and I touched on this in the very beginning. We mentioned this, that Nike is a brand that is of China and for China. Nike chief executive reassures China, and this is exactly what Jason Whitlock was talking about. It's because these people have chosen China over America. They have chosen the system in place in China, because under a Chinese system, these people don't have to compete with other they don't have to compete with other companies. They're going to get government contracts. Look at how they like to say that China has adopted free market principles. That is absolute bullshit. They have just allowed people to make money. But you have to work for, you are basically working still for the Chinese government if you are a Chinese company. You are not a Chinese company if you are not working in cahoots with the Chinese government, which is very profitable for these companies, because they're just going to get tons of money from the government. It's economic fascism is exactly what it is, which is why you've heard me say it time and time again, that these people are fashcoms. They use the economic model of fascism with the moral authoritarianism of communism. Oh, we got Gareth Hasty in here. What's up, dude? Says, I'm sure if Trump brought the NFL, people would come back. Or if he bought the NFL, yeah, they would. They would, except, not one person owns the NFL. But if he could fix it. But anyways, back to this story. After the huge Chinese market for Nike diminished because Chinese consumers launched a boycott following Nike's remarks about the reported abuse of Muslim Uyghurs, Nike chief executive John Donahoe made sure to reassure the Chinese he was on their side, telling Wall Street analysts Nike is a brand that is of China and for China. I have never liked Nike products in my life. I bought one pair of Nike shoes when I was 12 years old, and they fell apart in a matter of weeks, and I've never bought anything Nike ever since. And I'm glad. I'm glad that I have never supported Nike. But we are going to come to a crossroads here where these corporations are going to have to choose. Are you an American company or are you a Chinese company? And if you're a Chinese company, then get the fuck out of America. You're done here. You're done. They are selling us out. They got rich and became prosperous here in America. They got rich and became prosperous because of our economic system. And then as China gave them the opportunities to make their clothes with their products with slave labor, which made them more profitable. The slave labor, and open it up to this market where where the Chinese government could stomp out any of their competition. All of a sudden, yep, they're all for China now. They have chosen. As far as I'm concerned, Nike needs to be banned from America. They're a Chinese company. They have said it themselves. Mr. Donahoe made the comments during a discussion on Nike's fourth quarter earnings, which showed revenues had doubled to a better than expected $12.3 billion, $12.3 billion for 3 months to end March. That helped it bounce back. I don't give a shit, actually, about their profits. So Donahoe doubled down, saying, we've always taken a long-term view. Exactly. Their long-term view is that China and the Chinese government, cozying up to the Chinese government, is going to be more profitable than being part of an American competitive economic structure. So we've been in China for 40 years. Then adding of Nike co-founder Phil Knight. Phil invested significant time and energy in China in the early days, and today we're the largest sports brand there. Yet Nike also lobbied against a bill banning imported goods made with forced labor in China's Xinjiang region, the New York Times reported in November 2020, adding, Xinjiang produces vast amounts of raw materials like cotton, coal, sugar, tomatoes, and polysilicon, and supplies workers for China's apparel and footwear factories. Human rights groups and the news reports have linked many multinational companies to suppliers there, including tying Coca-Cola to sugar sourced in Xinjiang and documenting Uyghur workers in a factory in Qingdao that makes Nike shoes. It's slavery, guys. I mean, the left always likes to say, they always like to talk about, who would you have been? Would you have stood against Nazi Germany in the 1930s? The Chinese government here, the modern Chinese government is worse than the Nazis were. I mean, the Nazis were pretty fucking bad, but the Chinese communists are worse. They are more oppressive. They do more terrible things. I mean, they're actually, I guess, really, they're just as bad. They're just on a much larger scale. They are just as bad as the Nazis, but they are worse because of the scale with which they operate. And these people, they're clearly showing what they would have done with Nazi Germany in the 30s. It's the left of today that would have been totally on board with backing Hitler if it was profitable for them. All right. Now, I want to get into President Trump a little bit because, man, things are about to heat the fuck up with everything that's going to be coming out of the Arizona audit soon. And like I said, it's probably not going to be long before we're not even allowed to talk about the Arizona audit here on YouTube. But Trump rips into weak and pathetic Barr in a scathing statement. So former President Donald Trump lashes out at former Attorney General William Barr, calling him weak and pathetic in a scathing statement. Now, I called Barr out for this a long, long time ago. I was on the early train of, I smell something wrong here. I do not think that Barr is doing his job. There was too much oh man, Barr's working everything in the background. I was like, I don't know that he really is. And to me, it wasn't so much about the fact that nothing had been done, but it was his demeanor when talking about things that did not ring as somebody who was actually gung-ho about making a difference. He seemed like he was there to just gum up the works, to just stall and bide the time in the Department of Justice. And I sensed that pretty early, and I was just, something's not right here. And I proved to be absolutely right. Absolutely right. So he says, I lost confidence in Barr long before the 2020 presidential election scam. Trump said, I'm sorry, these are Trump's words, YouTube. Trump said in a statement Tuesday, he was afraid, weak, and frankly, now that I see what he was saying, pathetic. Trump's comments come after a newly released book excerpt said that Barr suspected Trump's allegations during the 2020 election were all bullshit. Trump called the reports in the book, written by ABC News chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl, made up beyond any level imaginable and fake news. Trump claimed that he lost confidence in Barr when he didn't act on the very powerful Horowitz report and instead gave everything over to John Durham, who has seemingly disappeared from the planet. Now, George Papadopoulos recently said that he thinks that there is going to be something that comes out of the Durham report. I am not confident, especially with the administration that is in there now. But he said, Trump continues. Can you even believe a report coming out during the Biden administration? Trump said. We caught them, but unfortunately didn't have an attorney general who was capable of acting and wouldn't go against his friends in Washington, D.C. Trump accused Barr of being a swamp creature who folded when under pressure from political opponents. Barr was a swamp creature who was devastated when he heard the radical left wanted to impeach him, Trump said. He and other rhinos, you see it all the time, always fold. If he becomes less for President Trump, maybe they will leave him alone. It takes a very strong and special person to go up against the mob. Bill Barr was not that person. Trump then argued that the future findings would end up vindicating his claims. Got to give it to him. Trump is right. Bill Barr was a piece of shit. Bill Barr was useless, he was ineffective, and he was just there to just bide time so that nothing would happen to the deep state. He was a deep state stooge. But on Saturday, Trump started his big events again. And it looks like he drew 35 to 45,000 at his first big rally in Ohio. So the MAGA movement is not dead. They are hoping beyond all hope that having done what they did in 2020, that they would end the MAGA movement, that we would go quietly into the dark good night. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. We are here to stay. We are going to keep fighting, and we are not going to let this shit go. No, we are back. We never, no, we're not back. We never went anywhere. Don't call this a comeback. We never left. We never left. But this just goes to show how strong the movement still is. You can see the massive line of people to get in there. And let me turn the audio off because they play the one thing I got to take a little gripe with about Trump and his rallies is what's with all the Village People music? What's with all the Village People music? But I'm going to put this on silent to play it just so that, so I'm not playing the Village People here. But, that is a lot of people there. 35 to 45,000 are still showing up for President Trump. Gareth Hasty says that Barr's father hired Epstein back in the day and wrote a book about a planet full of child molesters. Yeah, I actually was about to mention that, and then I just didn't want to go off that beaten path. But yeah, Bill Barr's father, it was at a big prep school in New York, hired Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Barr's father did. That was one thing that from the beginning I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know about this guy. But anyways, you can just see massive, massive crowd. Oh, shit, we got Andrew Ortiz in here. What is up? Says Trump did get 5 million votes, more votes in 2020 than Obama did. He did. It 74 mil. It was 74 or 75 million, and that was recorded votes. We all know, if something happened where some of them got switched, that number, I would not be surprised if Trump got 100 million votes. At least 90 million. I would not be surprised if Trump got 90 million legitimate votes. This country was kicking ass under Donald Trump. The media was insufferable. The leftist establishment was insufferable. But despite all of that, Trump was still kicking ass and taking names. And you hear Kamala goes down there. She talks about the border and says that they inherited a mess. No, when they inherited the best border situation that we had ever had in this country. And then they turned it into a mess. But, of course, gaslighting. So, now we got, okay, so Trump just announced this. This has got to go, I like to speak on Georgia news because I am originally from the state of Georgia. I still love Georgia, got a lot of Georgia love in me. Trump, Herschel Walker will run for the Senate. And everybody, Herschel Walker is based. If you are in Georgia, if you are listening to me and you're back in Georgia, vote for Herschel Walker. I am officially endorsing Herschel Walker. And I am endorsing, I am endorsing him for senator against Raphael Warnock. And I'm endorsing Vernon Jones for governor. But Former NFL player Herschel Walker will rush to the end zone in Washington, D.C. with a Senate challenge to incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock, according to former President Donald Trump. Trump, who has long encouraged Walker's political ambitions, said the former Heisman winner and Georgia Bulldog told him he's going to run for his seat during a recent dinner, adding he would likely win. Herschel Walker is going to dominate the race in Georgia. Yes, Herschel Walker could actually be a very huge galvanizing force, especially in Georgia and especially among black voters. Because Herschel Walker is like a folk hero in Georgia. If you're not from Georgia, if you're not from the South and you don't know SEC football and you don't know how crazy people go here for their SEC football, Herschel Walker is a Georgia Bulldog legend. And people will go nuts for him. I don't think anybody would stand a chance against Herschel Walker if he ran. So, says, I think it would be very, very hard to beat Herschel, Trump told Clay Travis in the Buck Sexton show. The former president also offered words of praise for Walker, calling him a great guy, a patriot, a very loyal person, and a very strong person. They love him in Georgia, I'll tell you. He was the greatest running back in the history of the state. He is a fantastic guy, and they love him. That is damn true. That is damn true. Whitney Rowe says he's got everyone's vote. Just watch. Yeah, he absolutely does. Whitney Rowe says SEC or die. Everyone in the South. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and Herschel Walker is a UGA legend. He is going to walk all over Raphael Warnock. Raphael Warnock is probably pissing in his pants right now at the thought of running against Herschel Walker. But now we have fewer number of voters now believe that Biden won fairly than actually voted for him, a poll says. So a growing number of voters do not believe President Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election fairly, while a solid majority support election audits, according to a new Rasmussen poll. In a survey of likely U.S. voters, Rasmussen found that 55% of forensic audits of the 2020, 55% support forensic audits of the 2020 presidential election, while 50% of voters believe he won fairly and 41% of voters do not. The number of voters who do not believe he won fairly is up from 34% in February. So this narrative is only gaining steam, ladies and gentlemen. Again, more cultural wins. More cultural wins for us right now. So the percentage of voters who believe Trump won the election fairly is significant, considering he beat former President Donald Trump 51.3% to 41.8%. However, this means that 7 months into Biden's presidency, fewer voters believe he won fairly than actually voted for him. And that's because, Pete, everyone's seeing now that we have a fucking potato as our president. We have a potato as our president. Whitney Rowe says, with that said, roll tide. Get the hell out of here, Alabama. You are out of the Revved Up Rebel Nation. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Kidding. Don't leave, Whitney. Don't leave. Roll tide. Let's see. So, but the audit in Arizona is wrapping up. Now, like I said, probably not going to be able to talk about this much longer. So the Arizona audit started to pack up tables and vacate the Coliseum floor this weekend, but it appears that the audit team is still performing quality control checks and thoroughly rechecking their evidence. Senate leader Karen Fann and audit officials are expected to release a statement as early as this week. The Gateway Pundit reported that Karen Fann would not be releasing a preliminary report on Monday. So before leaving, so we got pictures here. I guess that, they're packing up the whole Coliseum there. Before leaving and returning the evidence, auditors are still performing quality control and a handful of extra checks to ensure their data is accurate. Karen Fann insists that they can't talk today. That they are not in a rush to release any information. The forensic audit is about accuracy. Volunteers are checking to ensure that the totals are correct, with volunteer observers providing overwatch for each counter. So We did not receive a preliminary statement today on the accuracy of certified election results. The Senate is currently occupied with hearings on the floor, attempting to pass election integrity bills and a conservative budget. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video real quick of them talking about what's
Senators need to be moved out of the Coliseum no later than June 30th, this Wednesday. Let's bring in One America's political correspondent, Christina Bobb, to give us one last look inside the Coliseum. Good morning, Christina. So what happens now that the manual part of the audit is complete?
Good morning, Alicia. Yes, this is our last live look at the Coliseum before they remove everything. So let's take one more look at the floor. If you remember, the far side used to even have some ballots in it just last week. It has all completely been finalized and it has moved to the closer side here of the arena. If we take a look, let's say pallet number 7, if we take a look at that, everything has been matched up to the way it was delivered. So every box that is on pallet 7 was on pallet 7 when it was originally delivered. It's effectively all been put in exactly the same place that it was when it was delivered here, and it will be moved out on Wednesday and returned to the county. If we look at the floor, we can see there are still a few people counting, and they're just counting the ballots at this point. They're not actually counting the vote. They are doing some spot checks to make sure that the number of ballots that they say are in that box is actually the accurate number, that it is the count. And for every person that's counting, you have at least one observer. We see one here, and there's one on the far side of the room as well. But they are wrapping up, and everything will be moved out on Wednesday.
All right, so when do you expect to see some kind of announcement?
All right, so I'm not going to play that whole thing, but they are wrapping up. They are getting ready. It is moving full steam ahead. Now, Andrew Ortiz says, do you think it will destroy the country if audits showed Trump actually won? Do you think it could change everything? I mean, I don't know if it's going to destroy the country, but I think it is certainly going to lead to a lot of it's going to be it's going to be a problem. I'll put it that way. It's going to be a problem, but it is a problem I would like us to have. It is a problem we need to face. So I don't know if it's going to change it. I don't know what mechanisms they're going to have in place to decertify, and I don't know if they're going to have any sort of mechanisms to get Biden out of the White House. I have no clue. I have no idea how this is going to play out. I know Matt Braynard recently said, buckle up, because this shit is going to get wild. But I would rather the truth come out and shit get wild, shit get rough, and shit get hairy than just sit by and let this happen. We have to fight this fight. It has to be fought. We cannot worry about the collateral damage. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. So we're about coming up on time. I got to make sure I stop these short of 2 hours because I need these to port over to Odyssey. By the way, go ahead and follow me on Odyssey. But I wanted to cover this last story here. While Biden attacks gun owners, U.S. gun company reports a record-breaking $1 billion in sales. So Smith & Wesson, which they got a 357 Magnum here. I actually have a Smith & Wesson 686 Plus 357 Magnum, and I love 357 Magnum. Is just one of my favorite rounds to shoot. I just love shooting 357 Magnum. But so as Stephen Gutkowski reports at The Reload, Smith & Wesson reported its best sales ever in 2020, topping $1.1 billion in net sales for the first time ever. That's up more than 100% from 2019. And on June 17th, Smith & Wesson CEO Mark Smith stated in an earnings call, earlier today, this is great. This goes to show you how good our side is. Earlier today, we announced to our employees that this year we will be distributing over $14 million to eligible employees, which will be 15% of each year's employees' annual wages. In addition, the company achieved a very significant milestone in fiscal 2021, surpassing $1 billion in sales for the first time in our 169-year history. As I said, this would not have been possible without all of our employees. And so, in recognition of this milestone, we will also be awarding every employee who is not eligible for our management bonus program a special bonus of $1,200 for a full-time employee and $600 for temporary workers, prorated for the month of service during the fiscal year, to be paid next Thursday, June 24th. That is how you do it. See, all of these communists, all of these socialists, all of these Bernie Sanders supporters, they want to mandate this stuff. They want to mandate that, companies, minimum wages and all this bullshit. Smith & Wesson is acting like a good company by saying, we have done this well. We have had record-breaking sales. We have had a record-breaking year, and we are going to thank our employees. So big props to Smith & Wesson for doing this because it's the right thing to do. Love it. I love it. Good to see. Smith & Wesson acting like a good company. So Deanna McPherson, the company's CFO, revealed our board has authorized a new $50 million share repurchase program, as well as a 60% increase in our quarterly dividends to 8 cents per share. So I think that it looks like they're also helping their employees buy stock in Smith & Wesson. Good on them. Good on them. Love to see it. Thane Michael says, love the M&P Shield. Yeah, that is a good one. That is a good 9mm pistol right there. The M&P Shield is great. Although I am in love right now with my next gun is going to be the Sig Sauer P320 X5 Legion. I don't know if you guys have shot that. That thing is a beast. That thing is a beast. It's got a tungsten worked into the frame, so it's nice and heavy, and it very, very easy to control. I was literally just painting one shot over the other. If it was a crossbow, I would have been splitting arrows, and I'm not even that great with a pistol. But that Sig Sauer X5 Legion is fucking awesome. So let's see. I'm gonna go through here. We're gonna stop reading the news today. I got to get out of here in just a second here. I just want to make sure I don't have any comments that I need to go over. You know what, guys? I am going to go ahead and call it a night tonight. We will be back on Thursday. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, let people know about this show. Let's grow the Revved Up Rebel Nation. I've got some interesting stuff in the works that I'm not quite ready to announce yet. But I am looking forward to having you guys back in here on Thursday. Ah, shit, we got Metal Minister in here. Says, give me a 1911 all day. Yeah, hey, not going to knock that. Not going to knock that. That 45 caliber, though, that is nice. I do like the 45s. I will not knock you on the 1911s. But anyways, guys, also don't forget, I do have a little bit of merch. I got some shirts down, store link down there. Also, it is looking very, very likely that I am about to be fired from my job for running this channel. I've been suspended since back in January. I've been having my hearings and everything that have been going on over the past couple weeks. The fucking packet. Guys, check this shit out. Check this shit out. Oh, hold on. 337-page charge packet against me that I'm defending myself against for running this fucking YouTube channel. So if you would like to subscribe to or help contribute to this channel, there are links to my my PayPal and my Subscribestar down in the link below, because I am likely to be about to be out of a job. I don't think there's any way that they're going to keep me on. I'm going to fight for it, but I can't talk about everything just yet. I'm looking forward to the day that I can tell you guys everything that's been going on, because it is fucking nuts. These people are lunatics. Absolute lunatics. But anyways, guys, that is it for today's show. As always, rev your engines, ride hard, and fight like hell.